New options are available in the pickup shop. Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. A little shy of a year ago, Gibson brought out their new pickup shop, where they changed the design of their pickups and offered some things for the first time available separately. However, August 22nd, 2023, we get a second batch of pickups, including a set that people have been waiting for. That's right, they are offering the Greenybuckers separately. And to be honest, I thought they'd be more expensive than $300 a pop. And if you're not familiar with what a Greenybucker is, it's a set of pickups that Gibson used within their Greeny series. So we had the initial $50,000 collector's edition, then we had the $20,000 base run that didn't have the Brazilian rosewood, but everything else was about the same, and then we eventually got the Gibson USA offering, which was $3,200 brand new, that they were also used in. However, that was a production level guitar, it had a satin finish, but those ended up being $200 more expensive than your regular standard 50s or 60s that had the gloss finish. But what's so exciting about this Greenybucker set is the fact that they're relatively affordable for a pickup, $300 a set. So let's say you didn't like the satin finish of what the USA Greeny ended up being. You've now got some other options to consider. Maybe you like the faded finish, but you wanted to save a little bit more money, and you liked having that Les Paul model on the headstock. You can now buy one of these, buy the pickups, and you're still at $2,800 if you know how to install them yourself. And you've got these other pickups that you can sell separately to recoup some of your costs. All you gotta do is buy a separate pair of knobs and you're good to go. But another thing that's exciting is the USA Greenies were only offered in a 50s vintage neck. So now if you want a similar look and a gloss finish, you could buy yourself the 60s neck standard and upgrade your pickups. Or if you don't care about the greeny finish and you just want the similar tone, you've got more color options. Even more so if you just consider the regular 50s neck, like you can have a gold top greeny now. Or it doesn't even have to be a Gibson Les Paul. You could pick up one of these Epiphone 50s for $699, and for $1,000 you've got your cheaper style Greeny. Or if you want slightly more premium lumber, you could go for the 59 reissue. And again, you're going to have the extra Gibson pickups that you can sell off separately. But this is pretty interesting because now I question, are they even going to bother doing an Epiphone Greeny? I thought for sure the release of these pickups would have came after that, go through the entire production level before offering them up to modders to put them in whatever guitars they want. I could still see it happening because not everybody knows how to solder pickups. But trust me, when it's 2-conductor wiring style, it's really not as hard as you might think. And 4-conductor just takes a little bit more know-how of where you need to put the things. But I was getting questions. Is this just the Gibson USA style, or is it the same that they put in the custom shop version? They're telling us that they read 8.7K in the bridge and 8.3 in the neck. Now in my reviews and demos, when I take my circuit readings, that is within the circuit, so it's going to be slightly less hot than if we were to measure the pickup direct from the lead. But here you can see the numbers of the collector's edition. This was the 20K version, and then this was the numbers of the USA set that I had measured. And they all varied ever so slightly, but you gotta remember, there's other stuff in the circuit that could be doing that. Temperature also affects. So outside of the aging, so far it does seem like they are the exact same pickups. The biggest difference just came down to the wiring and caps that they used. So offering these separately, now you've got your opportunity to do this from the get-go. Find yourself some nice reproduction Bumblebee caps and wire it up 50 style. And hey, would you look at that? You get really cool packaging too. It says Gibson Pickup Shop. It's got a picture of Greeny on it. You can just set that on your desk. It's a small little display. So reverse magnet polarity guys can rejoice today. You can get that quacky out of phase tone in a pickup that is specially voiced to sound very similar to Kirk Hammett's current guitar. But that's not all I have to share tonight. But before we get to our next topic, let's hear a word from our sponsor, Sweetwater. I've been shopping with Sweetwater for over 10 years. If you're looking to buy music gear such as guitars, banjos, ukuleles, DJ equipment, or even the computers that you need to help you create all that, they are your place and they're happy to ship it to your door, or you can visit their Fort Wayne, Indiana location. And even if you're not in the market for anything, they've got a great website to window shop because you can see each individual guitar that they're selling, take a look at their top, the weight, and if you are local, they do events all the time. They also do monthly giveaways that you can follow the link in the description to become a part of. Thank you, Sweetwater, for sponsoring tonight's episode. Now let's get back to the guitars. So that's the big news that everybody's talking about, but they dropped a whole bunch of other pickups too. For example, they have Gibson Kramer Eruption pickups now, offered in neck and pickup varieties within the double black and zebra family. But I like the purple box, that's cool. But the fact that they're releasing these under the Gibson pickup shop rather than a separate Kramer one was kind of interesting. But it might be like a test market. How many people are actually wanting to buy this? I don't know anything about this pickup, so I can't comment there. But that thing's pretty hot at 16K ohms, being offered at $120 a pop. But this, I'm kind of excited about. We get Thunderbird pickups. Kind of a niche thing not everybody's going to need. A lot of people hate these more modernized black covers over them. And you can't remove it because it's an epoxy-coated pickup. But now they are offering the reflective chrome-covered ones. Now they are slightly different pickups. These are the Thunderbird reissue. They read a little bit less, 8.2 k ohms, versus our 9.5 ceramic over here, whereas we have an Alnico 5 in this pickup. They are vastly differently constructed, but I'm pretty sure this is the first time we've seen these for sale separately, but this one's got a gold box. So if you want to take your more modernized Thunderbird and give it that vintage look and sound, they're the exact same price, $130. But what is this? Dirty Fingers SM. It's a new spin on the classic Dirty Fingers design that uses a single powerful ceramic 8 magnet instead of 3 magnets used in standard Dirty Fingers pickups for a more mid-range punch without compromising the original tone. It's 4 conductor so you can coil split it, fully wax potted. So this is a brand new pickup, unless they were hiding it in some other model that I'm not aware of. Can't wait to try one of those when they eventually put it in a new coming model. Not a bad price either, $129. However, it looks like it only comes in double black, no covers. Check this out, the P90 DCs, we saw those introduced with the latest Billie Joe Armstrong, advertised then as their latest hum-canceling design. You can check out this review and demo if you want to hear it yourself. I still prefer regular P90s, but I get it. I don't play a giant arena that needs hum canceling. I play my tiny room. So we have that offered in the dog ear P90 for $129. But here's the big thing, you can buy it now in the soap bar variety as well. I mean, the difference is just your base plate essentially. This one has the tabs over here that get screwed onto the pickup, whereas this base plate is just a little bit less massive. Simply depends what kind of guitar you're putting it in. And now, I believe for the first time being offered are an Underwound series of pickups. I believe previous to this, you could only find those in limited edition releases. You've got that in zebra, you've got it in nickel, you've got it in gold, and just straight up double black. And the prices vary from $229 to $289. Same pickup, just depends what kind of finishing you want. And it looks like those are coming in a nice red-orange box. Next, we've got the 57 Classic in an Underwound. So zebra, nickel, gold, as well as double black. It's currently unavailable in every single iteration. Those could be interesting to try. And then we've got Underwound P90s. Again, we're waiting for them to come out, but usually P90s, 7.5 to 8, so 7.2, it's not like crazily underwound. But I think if you're trying to put a modern pickup in an older guitar, you're probably gonna wanna go for the underwound one if you're trying to get the more vintage tones. So hey, if you heard the news, Greenybucker came out, I hope you learned all the rest of the news that everybody else isn't necessarily talking about. But now we've got a few other cool current events. Marty Schwartz gets a signature ES335. Now it's from the Epiphone branding, not the Gibson custom shop yet, but Marty has taught so many people how to play. So do we categorize this as the second signature YouTuber guitar? I think so, because that's where most people know him from. So it appears to be a red one that does have a flame top. Okay, I was not expecting that. We've got the newer style headstock, as is customary. We've got our 64 block style inlays. Whoa, even the back has figuring, okay. Now remember, that's going to vary example to example, and if they are truly press formed, basically just a veneer. But would you look at that, they did put a little decal back here. This is beard. Okay, that's cool. Still a scarf joint neck. I like the fact that he spiced it up here. And on top of that, they are giving it a hard shell case. Let's see, 60 slim, medium jumbo frets, Laurel fretboard. We were correct on our veneer and it is pressed. And it's the Alnico Classic Pros, okay. But whoa, hold the phone, push pull. When I first heard about this a couple of weeks ago, I was kind of scared what the price would be, but honestly, I think $899 is not too bad of a price. Even though it doesn't fit my usual NGD minimum price requirement, if somebody wants to do Guitar Day it, feel free. I will do that review because he packed a lot in there for his followers. And now we have even more Gibson news. This time a historical archive was recovered. Now, unfortunately, it's not the 59 burst ledgers that they're still offering nearly $60,000 for the return of. Matt Kohler, over on his Instagram page, shared that they were able to recover the Gibson amplifier and effects archive from the years 1936 through 1969. So apparently these things just showed up on Reverb from an ex-Gibson employee who took them home one day, not thinking too much of anything, but it has all the Gibson amps. Now I have heard through the grapevine that Gibson has been working on bringing their amplifiers back. However, the last time I heard about that was like around 2018. So I don't know if new management is still taking that on, but the fact that they have all these schematics back is pretty nice, even if just for historical preservation rather than reissues necessarily, because they could have always just bought a vintage one that was all original, traced it up and said, yep, that's good enough. But let's see, what models could they potentially reproduce here? We've got things like the GA5, the GA6, 15, 19, basically all those classic old Gibson amps. But something that's got a few people talking is if you go through all this, you eventually get to one labeled Les Paul. So some guys are like, oh, are those the schematics for the original 68s? No, you gotta remember, there's actually a Les Paul amp out there. In fact, I actually have one of these back when I bought that original owner 1962 Les Paul SG. So since everything else happens to be amp and effects pedal orientated, I would assume that's what that is. Now I did try my best to see if I could find what this ended up selling for, but I couldn't find it. So maybe they bought this years ago and just waited to come out with it until now because they're ready to bring something else out very soon. Who knows? It could just be, I didn't find the right keywords of how it was listed. What would be cool is if we ever saw a reissue of their stereo amp, the GA79. They're just so classy and vintage looking. I would love to see the 5-watt Skylark come back though. Those things are great. Basically Gibson's version of a Champ. And I would also love to see the Gold Tone series come back. Whether you get the stack or half stack, the combo, or the single, they just have a really cool vibe to them. So, Troglodytes, I hope you enjoyed tonight's episode. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you tomorrow on the next one. Take care. If you enjoyed tonight's episode, consider subscribing. I post videos like this every day. And you might even enjoy this next one.